Greetings of peace and welcome. My name is Anthea Alexander. I am a coach and mentor based in Melbourne, Australia, and coming to you from Melbourne this evening, and also joined by my amazing colleagues, co-hosts, who we meet each Friday evening when we're all available. And if one of us is not available, that's fine. But we really enjoy getting together and discussing topics of interest that might be of relevance, current relevance, like floating iPads and disappearing disappearing former monks. But sorry, I'm just in a very because I've just been to the gym, so my endorphins are quite high. So I'm making some jokes. Anyway, so we have discussed lots and lots of different topics, and we welcome anybody to join us. We're pretty much happy to discuss anything as long as that's a respectful discussion. And so if you have a topic that you might like to discuss, please feel free to let one of us know and we can certainly discuss it. And we're quite willing also if there's some sensitive discussion, we can stop the recording or edit it out. So it's really the purpose is about having a safe and sacred space for people to meet and discuss things of importance with other trusted people. That's really what it's about. And we've been doing this for some time now, and our audience is getting larger and larger, from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. We had 6 people last week. So, and it's available as a replay, or you can join us live on a Friday evening, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. All right. Having said that, I will also introduce our topic. So we started last week coming out of difficulties and getting back on track. So this is something that we all go through in life. We all have trials and tribulations in all areas of our lives. It could be career, it could be our health, it could be relationships, it could be one of many areas, and it could be all of those areas, in fact. So we started discussing some experiences last week, and we didn't feel like we had covered as much conversation or discussion as we were wanting to. So we've extended it out to this week. And what we're basically looking at this week are ways that we were able to get out of things. So with our discussions, there's usually always a focus on ways that we can deal with things. So positive action steps that we can take. And Michael's very good at offering books, reference books. And we're all open to basically discussing what has worked for us in the past. So we started doing that, but we'll continue doing that this week. So I mentioned last week that I had extensive experience with grief and loss, which had really impacted my life. So that's an area that I am happy to discuss a little bit more this week and ways that I've dealt with that. And last week we sort of all came out with different areas of our lives that we had perhaps had more challenges with, or that we were happy to discuss. So what I will do without further ado is to hand it over to Rae, and she can introduce herself and also tell us a little bit about what she's done in the past and what she does now, and also perhaps talk about her area of challenge, which she mentioned last week, but I won't spoil the surprise if you're new to the discussion. So Rae can tell you once again. So over to you, Rae.
Oh no, what did I say last week? I've got a whole new lot of stuff here.
That's fine. You can talk about whatever you want to, right?
Don't remember what
You
I
talked
said.
about relationships.
Oh God. Oh yes. Ooh, yeah, right, yeah. I'm with it. I'm with it. My name's Rae. I am a ceramic artist. I live in far north Queensland, Australia, the most beautiful place in the world, but don't tell anybody. um, the reason I got into ceramics was for a bit of life balance from my nursing career. So I was a nurse for 30 something years, and I went to pottery class, yeah, to have some fun, and fell in love with clay, and eventually moved out of nursing and into a pottery workshop full time. But because of my background in nursing, in dealing with palliative patients and uh, grief and loss and critical care patients and the whole circle of life, because I'm a midwife as well. Because of that background, my pottery went down the lane of making memorial pottery, so cremation urns and vases and angels and things like that for the funeral industry, which I get a lot of enjoyment out of, and I now have a job that fills me up and doesn't drain me. Yeah, so the whole circle of life and people in shock and fear and grief and doesn't faze me whatsoever. I'm very comfortable with all that. So now that you reminded me what I was talking about last week, so in my life, as I blame nursing for this, right? Because when I went nursing, I was hospital trained, and we were taught to put the patient first, and our needs, thoughts, judgments did not count. And a lot of our relationships and the partners that we chose. So we nurses married a lot of lame ducks, really. So men that needed to be mothered and babied, and eventually most of us got out of those situations, and I was one of those. And the bit that I didn't say was my permanent solution to stopping that circle of just picking the wrong bloke time after time was to just give up on relationships whatsoever. So yes. So my son's father, the breakup with him it was awful. It was just awful. It was very abusive. And basically, Loris and I were hunted and chased and harassed for 7 years. It was just awful. And I couldn't bring myself to bring a man into that. My life was awful. I didn't want to share that with anybody else. I did have a really tough partner there for a couple of years. He was just amazing. He's probably one of the men I respect the most I've ever met in my life. As he was very protective, but actually it made it worse. And my son hated him because his father kept telling him to hate him. So it caused more problems than it fixed, even though we were very compatible. If I'd met him when I was 25, I tell you what, it would have been a different story. He was amazing. But anyway, so we split up. So I've never looked at another man since. So that's 17 years ago. I actually put on a heap of weight as well, which makes you invisible. And I was really happy with that. I was really happy. The only thing that bothered me about being fat was I had trouble getting around my kilns because they're really close to the back wall. I thought, I can't put any more weight on. I can't fit around because you don't want your bits touching the kiln when it's up to 800 degrees. It's a bit uncomfortable. So yeah, so something's happened. Something's happened in the last 12 months. All this weight's falling off, and I'm hanging out with men a lot better. I wouldn't even make eye contact with a man at all. The only men I ever sort of flirted with were tradies because they were only there for 5 minutes, and that was fun, and off they went. But yeah, I wouldn't even look at a man in the eye because God, I just couldn't go there. But so now, yeah, so now I've joined a group called Happy Snappers, and they're into photography. Yeah, so they're retirees. They have this amazing setup on the table all over the world, actually, called U3A. U3A stands for the University of the Third Age. So it's all these topics that you can join for very little cost. Like I'm in the pottery one because what else do you do on your days off? You go and make more pottery. And I'm in the photography one, and the photography one is a balance of men and women, which I've actually never had in my life. I've either been in nursing, which is all women, or driving trucks, which is all men. And both of those are not ideal. But so these happy snappers are just lovely. They're so nice people. Yeah, and they came around and did a raccoon firing in my backyard last week. Yeah, watched me do a raccoon, took all these photos. That was a really smart move that I made there. Now I've got all these awesome photos. So yeah, so that's what I was going to say last week was my solution was to just disjoin. That's not the right word. Divorce. Just get out of the dating pool altogether. Just stop it. I'm never really good at it. I've never met anyone I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I don't understand that thought when people say, that's my person and I want to grow old with them. I've never felt that way about anyone. A horse maybe, but not not a person. So it suited me very well. I reckon I've been on the same trajectory as Sanji for a while, being like a monk for the last 17 years for me. Yeah, but it's worked and I've got my head together a lot better and hopefully I've broken the cycle. Not that I'm looking for a relationship, but at least I can have a healthy friendship with a man now without worrying I've got really strong boundaries and yeah. So that was the thing I wanted to add. All right, so who am I handing over to, Michael or Georgie? Georgie, maybe. Your turn. Yeah, you.
Me. Hi, I am Georgina Campbell. I'm a spinal fire practitioner. Um, getting my business up and running. Um, I I have gone through a lot of trauma, which I've spoke about, and I have just come up with a few steps. Like I'm just going to talk what I've come to started to recover now. And I've acknowledged what I've um been through and I've gone back. I think what I talked about last week, like I got to 40 and I used to think, "Oh, what is all these people stressing about? What is stress? What is, like I didn't think I went through anything. But what it was my body that went through everything, not in here. And then I think it started to come in here, and then my head was just all busy and everything. So that's what I've worked on for the last, I don't know, probably 7 years. And always had someone telling me what to do and what not to do. And I've never had the freedom and never just gone with the flow or anything like that. I've always had children. I think the last 2 years is the only um 2 years that I have actually lived by myself and tried to share with someone, but that did not work. Um so yeah, I'm using my residence and everything to start up my business. I'm going to work it from here. And I'm just sort of where I am now is that to go with the flow, I've set boundaries and gone back and gone through the process. I don't know, yeah, for I suppose the last couple of months, I've actually gone right back through my childhood and still doing it. Something will come up that happened, and I've actually gone through the process of what I feel, what I felt, and then just moved on. Like doing meditation twice a week is really, really helped me. And I think just having that good group of people around you and just what I've come to see a lot of people, like if they're abusive or angry or whatever, I, I just like, well, that is them and not me, where it used to be, oh no, it's all about me, but it's not. So, and yeah, that's all for now. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Georgie. My name's Michael, and I live in another very nice part of the country in the Northern Rivers of northern New South Wales, just south of the Tweed. And in my day job, I work mainly with students of English as a second language, but when I'm not in an educational environment, I spend a lot of my free time um, exploring the sorts of topics that we discuss of a Friday evening. So everything from physical and mental health to self-actualization and human psychology and interpersonal relationships and spirituality and most things in between. So I'm happy to be here again and sort of discussing or continuing our discussion of how to get back on track in life. I think, like most people, I've had plenty of experiences in my own life where I've maybe drifted off course, as we all tend to do at different times. But as I've got older, I've developed certain strategies that I try to implement to minimize that and to make it easier to find my way again. In terms of different strategies, different techniques. One of the things that I've learnt is, as Rae mentioned and sort of Georgie alluded to as well, is the importance of healthy boundaries in interpersonal relationships, whether it's a work relationship or in my personal life. It's also about the importance of, for me, good self-care, looking after my sleep, what I'm eating, my physical activity, and trying to have a healthy lifestyle. So I find all of those things really important. But I will pass the baton over to the lovely Sanji so that he can introduce himself and introduce the topic a bit as well. So thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Hello, everybody. Very nice to be with you all. It's very pleasant and so nice you all are here on a Friday. So I'm Sanjiv. I'm a meditation teacher. I mostly work online now, and I'm settling in a new place. So having a look around and even adjusting all these things right and left again and again. So So coming to our topic, I have seen. I'll just say, and then we can go to the solutions we try to. And yeah, it's fine, Michael and Rae also mentioned sound. So I saw like different stages. When I was like a kid, it was like poor me syndrome. And then when I became teenager, it was more towards aggression. Then if somebody does one thing, it would be like double. It would come from my side. Because it was, but in the teenage times and all, like it's like a conflict, no? And from all the places, like it was like all from all sides, maybe the karmic factors and all that. And it was all very rough and tough, and from the family side, school sides, everything. And even I would get caught up into things the other guys would do, and they think I was the culprit, no? So then I was like, I didn't do it, no? Like, but it was like aggression, no? Every time. So later being a monk, and especially meditation, number one, even before being a monk, that switched. It was like a 360 degrees, like all the way. Yeah? And that was the game changer for me. Then I started like having patience, the anger part just kind of like went lesser and lesser. And then I could see, but still I was in my 20s or early 20s at that time. So yeah, being a monk also, it was a different game. Then I went like all, like even too much, no, like helping, there was no limit, no. So then I had to go through different situations. Even if I did good, sometimes like a bad response comes, or even the people in charge of a particular place, they would ask like, why are you trying to do all these things? So but still I went far way beyond, and sometimes fell into trouble also, no, because you try to help somebody, and the people in charge, they know this person is, so their family is such and such, but still you want to help. No, you cannot help yourself trying to help. And then after that, this person does some crazy thing, or that family, somebody does something, then the blame comes back to you. Like then they say like, that's why we told you not to do it, or like why, or you asked like, why did you get involved? So so yeah, but later I started coming back to Sri Lanka in the early, like 2020, and then it was like taking care of my father, and then working online. That brought a distance of things, and now being a civilian again, it's another situation, no? So like I understand there should be boundaries, limitations, or but still we have to keep the good side alive. And so there are some steps I also did and try, but now it's like in a moderate way, and I try to like investigate and see, but still I want to help. But I try to see like what are my limitations, these kind of things, and it's like a middle way, or I try to keep it in a middle way of reactions, as well as like countermeasures, or how to see things or do things. So I think we'll get to all like solutions we all did, and things we are doing or are trying to do. So I'll hand it over to Anthea, and we can go on with things we did, which are great things. No, like it's not easy to come out of difficulty. I think the best thing, everybody goes through so many difficulties in life, but the greatest thing is coming back, no, or bouncing back. It doesn't mean like comparison to another, we should be to some extent or some level or something like that, but coming back, no. So some people get stuck there forever. Some people give up on life, or take their, like try to finish their lives, no. So get into addictions, or sometimes just like to change the mind frame, or try to forget about it. But eventually these things come back, or even in worse forms. But we all we went through difficult things, or maybe still going through difficulties, and we are trying, no, and we did things to come back. So we'll all share those things. I'll hand it over to Anthea. Okay.
Thank you, Sanji. And thank you, everybody, for sharing and introducing yourselves, talking a little bit about yourselves and your situation. So what I would like to talk about is basically when my mother passed away. So my late mum, her name was Margaret, and she passed away in August 2018. And I had been caring for her for 4 years and living with her, and also my father before he passed away in 2015. And when my mother passed away, she was my best friend. I was working as her carer, so that was my job as well. I was living in my mum and dad's house, and all of a sudden everything changed. My best friend, I'd lost my best friend, my mum, my house I had to move out of. I had to find another job. So it was I just felt like I'd hit rock bottom. So basically, then that's where we need to find some inner strength and resilience to help ourselves to climb out of that hole, or whatever you might visualize it as, climb back up the mountain, or climb out of the swamp, or whatever you might visualize it as. So basically, I took steps slowly but surely, and I had some wonderful friends who unfortunately have died as well. They were older women who were friends of my mother's, and they were able to help me a lot. So we mentioned that last week about seeking help from trusted people. So that's something that's really, really important. And we also mentioned last week the importance of having female friends. And for me as a woman, there's something special about female friends and relationships, but I don't know, I'm not a man, but I think that there's probably a lot of special things that men find in women as friendships or other types of relationships that women can offer. But as women and women, can really, really, I think Rae mentioned it last week, can really, really help each other, to the extent that it's very, very, very helpful. So I was able to find strong women who were able to help me. I was able to basically develop other skills and find a group to develop my own business, coaching business. And what else? I also was able to connect through developing my skills as a coach and mentor with an amazing spiritual coach in Indonesia. She's in Bali, and she's a native Indonesian lady from Jakarta. And I still keep in touch with her and have regular prayer circles with her, meet her online once a week. And we really did like what Georgie is talking about, like going back to your childhood, looking at triggers, and really, because for quite a while there, I felt just very, very numb. I didn't quite know, I couldn't, it was just a bit overwhelming. I didn't know what I felt. And I think my whole sort of being was trying to protect myself from feeling, because it was too hard. So I just felt very numb. So we gently had sessions together online, and we talked about triggers and went back and did like inner child work, and I was able to identify some really important things that had happened in my life that had sort of impacted and influenced how I behaved and reacted to things. And what else? So gradually, I feel like it's been quite a journey. So from 2018 to now, so we're 2026, it's been 8 years. I feel like I'm slowly climbing up and getting up to more of a position that I'm feeling more of myself now. Being able to have these beautiful discussions with all of you is really, really special to me. And it's something that I couldn't have quite imagined happening. So it's a real blessing and very, very helpful. And I think it's really helpful for other people to listen to as well. What else did I want to say? So sort of fast forward to now, I am looking at career transitioning. I'm looking at doing some more study into NLP and hypnosis, and doing some more coaching, perhaps one-on-one or in workshops with people doing that. I'm really excited about that. And I have also been doing a lot of work with a coach and mentor, and she's in Perth, and I'm actually going to be attending a retreat in Bali in 3 weeks' time, a 3-day retreat. So that'll be based on, it'll be myself and the lady who's leading the retreat and another lady from Perth. And we'll be looking at our own transformations as well as what we can acquire and learn and help other people with. So that is something that is very dear to my heart. I love spending time in Bali, and I also love going on retreats. So that's something that perhaps that's something that I might be able to incorporate into my career as well. So I'll invite you all to the next retreat that I run in Bali. And it really is a journey. And I think we have to be really patient with ourselves and celebrate little wins, because we can be very hard on ourselves and maybe not recognize how far we have actually come because we're so close to ourselves. But if we celebrate little wins and really recognize that, journaling and I think meditation can really help with that too, then, and reflection, then we can realize, just how far we have made it. So that's what I want to express just at this stage. I also wanted to share that when you all talk, I can relate to all of your situations. So there are things that have happened in my life as well. And so it's really interesting, but boundaries is something that has really been coming up for me as well, because I haven't been very good at asserting boundaries, because basically being raised with my father, who'd had a work accident and a brain injury, his moods were very erratic. So trying to keep the peace and walking on eggshells around him was sort of the way that I managed. And then I've done that. I've continued that in my life. So I just try and avoid conflict. I don't like conflict. But it's about now looking at that and saying, well, this doesn't serve me anymore. I'm now 53. It's another stage of my life. So it's time to sort of, perhaps put that aside and try a different way of navigating life. So I shall hand it over to Rae now. And Rae, your hair looks really pretty tonight. I wanted to share that with you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm game enough to have pretty hair these days.
Yeah.
So
Is it naturally wavy?
It is.
Yeah.
It's never been like that before, but I've got this freaky hairdresser that can just make it do the most amazing things.
Oh,
I just washed it and it does it by itself. Amazing.
All right. Well, I'll hand it over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just go on a different tangent a little bit. So I've come from this extremely functional family. They're so functional that if you make a mistake they just slam you. Why could you be so stupid? Couldn't you see that was going to happen? It's like, oh my God. So problem solving and getting into trouble and getting out of trouble is fine, is easy for me. I don't suffer through that at all. And part of that, we learned to do that because as kids, we were just chucked out of the house all day and told to be home when the street lights came on. So the mischief we got into and got ourselves out of was just incredible. Yeah, I remember my parents were out one weekend and we had this go-kart that was about this far off the ground, and it had this posty Honda 90 motorcycle engine on it, and it used to just fly. And it would go so fast that whatever kid was in it would freeze. They'd just go into shock and their foot would jam on the accelerator. Anyway, so we put this kid was visiting from Atherton. He must have ridden his push bike there. Anyway, and we put him in the go-kart to give him a go, and he froze and he went right through the neighbour's banana patch and just cut this full-grown banana tree off at the ground, like sliced it. And we were like, oh no, we're going to get in so much trouble. So we had to hide this banana. So behind our house was a ploughed paddock. So I went and got my horse. I had a pony, And we hooked the pony up to the banana tree and we snegged this banana tree out into the middle of the ploughed paddock and tried to cover it with dirt. Oh my God. So yeah, problem solving was easy. And my favourite saying through life, like I used to say to everybody, was if you don't like your life, change it, move. You're not a tree. But you know what? Sometimes you are a tree. And I'll give you two examples. When Loris was 12, he started to need a day off from school every week. And I thought, what's going on? Is he getting bullied? And it was usually a Tuesday, and he'd fall asleep on his desk, and something's going on here. And by the time at 13, he went to high school. So from being in a tiny little Tolga State school with, I don't know, be flat out being 100 kids, to the Atherton High School in grade 8 with 1,000 kids. Like, that was overwhelming. And he was never a kid that liked change. He likes rules. He likes control. He never took any risks as a kid. I never had to worry about him hooning down a hill on his push bike. Oh, yes, I did. He'd do that. He'd do speed stuff, but he wouldn't do anything else. He wouldn't climb a tree that had brittle branches like every other we did. He a very, very careful kid, and he was overwhelmed in high school, and then he got really sick. He got very sick. So he actually had diarrhea, really bad diarrhea, so bad you couldn't send him to school. And I went to the GP and they said, oh, it's just Giardia. It's a bowel infection. Take these pills. 6 times they did that. So that was like 3 months of this constant problem until I said, this is ridiculous. It's not that, it's something else. And I finally got on. It took me 6 months to get him diagnosed. And it wasn't until this 50-kilo grade 8 kid was down to 30 kilos. He lost 20 kilos before they take me seriously. And I'm a nurse, right? I know how to talk to them. So, and they diagnosed Crohn's disease with him, and they couldn't believe my reaction. I was so relieved. I thought, oh, thank God. But that's a life sentence, right? So they couldn't understand why I was happy. I was happy because I had a label, and now I had something I could treat and work with. And maybe I could, because this child was dying in front of my eyes. So, you know, I was a tree in that situation. I couldn't run away. I couldn't move. There was nothing I could do except ride this out. And when he first got diagnosed and was so unwell, I thought that having been a nurse and the only Crohn's people I ever saw were in intensive care. They were completely fed by a tube, not even into their stomach, into their vein. That's how crooked they were. I'd never seen a Crohn's person that never went to hospital. So I thought I'd have 5 years with this kid and then he'd be gone. And I thought there'd be 5 years of hell and suffering. And that's what I was ready for. It was awful. Oh my God, it's terrible. So to get myself through that, we did all the things, you know, got a really good pediatrician. We had to fly to Brisbane, which is over 1,000 kilometres away. It's 24 hours solid driving. But we'd flown. Right, we got a specialist in Brisbane. We went down there. We got on some treatment. He had to be fed through a tube in his nose for 2 months to rest his bowel, right? And this is a kid he's got this tube here, and we taped it to his face, and it was hooked up to a feeding bag. And this is a child that sleeps like a windmill. Like, he doesn't roll from side to side like normal people. He'd go back, side, belly, and then keep going. So we'd wake up with his tube, and I used to have to get in bed with me so I could be there when he nearly strangled him. Anyway, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. It was awful. And I was still thinking that this was our life and he would just get worse and worse and go. So to do that, to handle other people's reactions, I would always get on the roof. It's weird, eh? I'd get on the roof of the house to be able to sort out what I actually thought. It's quite interesting. I've read about that since, and the vibration is higher. When you're down at ground level, you're on the same vibration as all the people, you know. But when you're up a bit high, like on a mountain, the vibration is higher on a mountain. So I get on the roof. And other thing, I used to wear these earrings with a little Egyptian ankh sign, and I'd wear that to remind myself to live. I had to live, because if I didn't live, this child had no chance because I was struggling. It was really hard. Yeah, and what else? And I talked to my friends a bit, but the thing that saved me was what happened? I got Loris a dog when he was 12. I got him Jazz, the dog that's asleep under you see it? No. She's just turned 15. So I got him a pup because I thought a red cattle dog would follow him down the creek when he wanted to go fishing and da-di-da. But anyway, he had a weekend with his father, and I took the dog for a walk, and she bolted, and I'd lost his dog. And I thought, oh no. So anyway, 2 nights, and she didn't come home for 2 nights, and I thought, I'm going to have to fess up here. I'll tell him before he gets home so that, he has a bit of time to process it and doesn't walk in the door and go, where's the dog? And I have to say, oh, I lost the dog. Anyway, so I said, she's run away. She might still come home, but yeah, she's run away. And so what happened then? An hour before he came home, his dad dropped him off. The dog came home, rotten and skinny, just smelt like you would not believe how bad she smelt. Sore paws. She had a wonderful time out there. She'd had a ball. So the dog came back. But because I'd already told him that I'd lost the dog and that I promised that I'd get him a cat instead, right? So then I still had to buy a bloody cat then. So off we went to the pet shop. And there there's kittens everywhere. And there was probably 20 kittens to choose from. And he picked this kitten. They were feral things. They were just wild, black and white wild things. And he said, which one will I get? And there was a little fluffy grey thing, tiny little grey one. And I said, that one would be really cuddly. You want that one? He said, no, I want one of these wild ones. And I said, I'll just pick the prettiest one. So I got the most stunning looking black and white cat. She was just gorgeous. And I fell in love with her. And she was my best friend. She was who I would tell my deepest, darkest secrets to. And I didn't even realize that until she got hit by a car 2 years later. I was like, I'm bawling my eyes out. And Loris is going, it's all right, Mum. She had a really good life. And I'm like, I've lost my best friend. Oh, oh my God. So that got me through. And anyway, he ended up getting better. He stabilized, he went into remission. I'd never seen that before. I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't on my list of things I'd have to deal with. So hallelujah, thank goodness. So, and now he looks after it all himself. He gives himself a drug, an amazing drug called Stelara. He puts a little tiny needle in his tummy once every 8 weeks. That's all he has to do. And he's completely fine. So hallelujah. So, but yeah, so that story's about sometimes you are a tree. And guess what? I'm in another tree situation now because my parents are, God knows how, but they're in their late 80s. I don't know. I've looked after them far too well. So yeah, they don't know this, but I kind of left nursing because I knew they just took up so much time. Like I was always taking days off, and Mum would ring me with a drama every 5 minutes. She was really she's actually better now than she was 10 years ago. That's probably Georgie's fault because Mum's had lots of spinal flow. Yeah, so I'm a tree again, but you know what? I'm not suffering at all. I know what the outcome's going to be. I'm ready. It's a circle of life. I don't know why they're still here, what they're waiting for. I think they're waiting for my brother to be ready because he leans on them a lot. Like they started their avocado farm for him because he is a farmer. He was born a farmer, and my dad's a mechanic. My mum was a school teacher, and they had this farmer son. So they had to go and buy, amazing parents' aid. So they went and bought property and planted avocado trees when what was I doing? Every weekend when I was 13, grade 8 at high school, I'd be out planting trees on this bit of bare land that they bought. Yeah, so he's inherited that. So they've been very close. He's seen them every day of his life. They've always, yeah, so it's him. I think they're waiting for him to be ready, and he's just not quite ready yet. But me being a tree, I'm happy. I've got my pottery. I just make joyful stuff for me for my life around them, and I allow them to live through me. Like my mum hasn't left the house for 5 years, but so I'm always telling, oh look, I won this in the show, and I'm Potter of the Week. And then she told me to shut up actually today. She said, well, you're having a really good week, aren't you? I said, if I get a win, you're going to hear about it. They don't happen that often. But yeah, so that's how I kind of cope with it now. It's going to be sad when they go, and I can't even imagine it. I'm sick of thinking about it. Like I've been on the edge, waiting for them to just drop off their perch at any moment for so many years now. I'm sick of waiting. So I'm just going to deal with it when it happens, and hope that they both go with dignity and in a way that is suitable for them. Yeah, so they're like anti-nursing home and all that. Yeah, so yeah, so that's my kind of thing. Like it's not really the wrong path. It's not the path I would choose for myself. What would I do? I don't even want to think about what I would do. Um, if because I give myself that choice. Actually, that's the other way I cope. Is I don't have to look after them. I choose to. There's a really big difference in that. Yeah, so I've chosen to do that, and I'll just wait. And once they go, then I'll reassess and decide what to do with my life. So the other bit of my spare time, I'm looking for my new purpose. Yeah, because I'm spending a lot of time with Sanji learning meditation and trying to figure out my new path. But yeah, probably why I'm a bit slow on it, Sanji, hey, because my parents aren't ready to let me run down that new path just yet. Maybe. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. So the secret of getting through, getting back on track is, even if you're stuck on the kind of wrong path, is to make sure you're not suffering. It's this, yeah, you can have bad things, but suffering through them is completely different to just getting through a bad time, hey? Yeah, what do you reckon, Georgie? Because your mum's quite elderly as well.
Yeah, my mum's 93. Yeah, she's actually just going blind in one eye, but she still does she has a carer comes 3 days a week, and she has a house cleaner now, um, every fortnight. Um, yeah, and the house cleaner come today, and she was in tears. So mum sat down on the couch and made her a cup of coffee, and they had tea together, and then she did the house. But yeah, but as I can, yeah, it was really good listening, because that's exactly how I used to talk and talk and talk about mum, didn't I, Ray? And then yeah, and I'm just coming. Oh, it was like when she was 75. Oh, you got to spend Christmas with me because it might be my last. Like, she's 93 now. Like, I can't do this forever. You know what I mean? Like, it is so, and I've got yeah, just going with the flow and doing your own, and I think what you have to do in life, you have to do it for yourself. Like, I choose to go and do stuff for her, and oh well, I don't really do anything for her. I'm on crutches, but I I go and take her for a drive, and I can go through the drive-through to the bakery or something like that, just to take her on a little outing, and she's happy with that, and I choose to do that. But before yeah, and it's actually been really good the last couple of months. Or the last month, it's been really nice. She's been talking about the old days and when she grew up and everything like that. Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, I did have a trauma. I think probably, she's your mum, but yeah, I think, yeah, it was going back and going through the process to go through that. And I think, yeah, if something happens now, I'm ready. Yeah. And I think it's just you know, I just got a few steps that I will go through, like from the trauma um that I have that I've done. I think now that I've accepted that the experience that have affected me, where before I don't think I accepted some of them, but I've gone back and processed and, let it go and just, yeah, moved on. And I think I was like really hard on myself. And I think it's really important that you be kind to yourself. And you speak to yourself with the same compassion that you would speak to your best friend. I think that is very important, and not be hard on yourself. Um, and I have found I go back again, but what has really helped me is um because, like, honestly, for 10 years, I had so much pain in my body and everything. I used to not sleep. Um, I used to go from my hips, I don't know, my legs, my hips, my hair, like everything hurt. And I used to go from side to side, just waking up, trying to get comfortable. And I don't think I ever got 2 hours solid sleep ever for a very long time. And now it's just like 8:30 comes till 7:30 in the morning. Um, because yeah, I don't know, because of the process, and I've dealt with lots of things. I've done lots of things for myself, but I think the biggest important, well, not important, well, to me, the biggest change in my pain and everything to me, processed foods or anything, but I have cut it all out. And since I've cut all that out, and ate healthy meals and moved, because I wasn't moving much at all either. Um, but the healthy meals, no process, no sugar, no 1 cup of coffee, and yeah, and just um with healthy meals, the veggies and fruit. Like, people used to, oh well, a lot of people say it's the sugar off the fruit, and I used to be always worried about the sugar in the fruit because I'm like, I can't have sugar. And like the nightshades, well, I eat all of them now. And honestly, this morning I woke up with no pain. For the first morning in a very, very long time, I actually got up and walked with no pain. But I've been very strict on no sugar and breads at the moment. And I think it's important, to help your to be outdoors, and it helps your body, mind, with nature and everything. Yeah, to be more I find that with myself, to get outdoors, because I wasn't getting outdoors a lot in the sun. And again, to process your feelings, journal, to talk to people that you trust. To help, I think that's why, I don't know, I talk a lot, because when I talk a lot, it makes me work through it, and Rae knows that. And yeah, I talk a lot about what's happening, about what I'm going through, and that, and now I've learnt to do it myself, like talk to myself, I suppose. Or I have learnt to balance it out on my own now. Thank God, hey Ray. Yeah, but I think it's important still that you have close friends that you can, talk about your feelings and everything too. And then I've set small goals for myself, like today, I'll clean the lounge or I varnished the tables and that the other day. I done one and ended up doing five. And I'm just like, oh, and the smell of the varnish is just leaving, but I still have to do another coat. And I don't want the smell back. Um, and I think it's important that you go and you celebrate what you've been through as well. You go and have coffee with a friend or, or even take yourself out to lunch. I've done that and enjoyed that as well. And make sure that you do things that bring you joy. And again, make sure you drink lots of water. Celebrate your progress. And you gotta be easy on yourself. And that's about all I have at the moment. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Georgie. Yeah, I'm just sort of assimilating, taking in, and sort of reflecting on what you've said. I think the idea of getting out in nature is a powerful one. The Japanese have a term, Shinrin-yoku, and it means forest bathing. But what does that mean? It means get out in nature for 20 minutes, half an hour. It doesn't have to be a forest, obviously. There are lots of cane fields around where I live, and there are lots of cane fields in North Queensland as well. So, yeah, it's just good to get out of the house, get out in nature, and literally touch grass sometimes, as a means of releasing stress and changing your perspective on things. On a practical sort of note, this was one of the books that I've recommended in the past, by Ajahn Brahm, but you can find a lot of his content on the Buddhist Society of Western Australia webpage and their YouTube channel. And he talks about, different ways of dealing with the stresses and problems that we inevitably encounter in our daily lives. I agree that it's really important not to isolate yourself. That's a mistake I've definitely made in the past. Try and surround yourself with good people, whether they're family or friends, or it could be a trusted health professional. It could be an imam or a priest or a minister of religion, just people that you trust. It's always good to get the perspective of somebody who's not in the situation maybe that you're in and that can look at things with a bit more objectivity. The benefit of a bit of distance. So that can be helpful. And just practicing good self-care and good routines. And often if you're doing something that's small, but you're doing it consistently, the benefits of whether it's a good diet or exercise, they compound over time, they add up over time. So I'll hand it over to Sanji for his perspective.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so over the years, there are many, many hard lessons to be learned. And then now it's a very weird way, like I feel a bit shy to say of this also. There's a way that my mind works. If I do something or my mind first sees the worst of it. Not in a negative way. I'm not trying to be negative or like how to say, yeah, not being negative. If I'm working with it, doing something like, I feel like, what if I cut my finger? And they, or if I'm walking on a roof or like fixing something, what if I fall from here? Then, oh, it's just example. I know that I always think these things, yeah. But then what happens is like every time this is like negative or like positive, like one, if you have a scale, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0, and minus, minus, minus. No? So the mind tend to start from some minus place, and even a 0 seems like a positive thing, or even one level above that, it seems better. So rather than trying to, yeah, there are goals and intentions and these things, no destinations to reach. But in when doing thing in practicality, it seems like the mind switches there. So the mind is automatically prepared to the worst. Then everything above it seems like it's nice. No, you can be happy about. Oh, at least this didn't happen. Oh, I learned from it. No, or something like that. Not that I'm perfect or everything goes fine every time. And then another thing I learned from especially being a monk and those things, like those days I used to like, if there's somebody in a puddle of mud or something, I also used to jump into that. Then I would get all the mud on me and then we both are kind of like stuck. But now, like it seems like I learned over the like difficult experiences, like I know like I should not jump in, no, because we'll both get drowned in that. And then I can have better chance of helping them, no? So and then another thing is like I ask from many people now, and not I don't have to believe all what they say, but they say positives, they say negatives and all. But uh, and I try to be righteous in a like livelihood and all these things, and then in a way that keeps me like, even if the whole world seems like, oh, where are your achievements or what are you doing now, all these things, but I know I'm a good individual. No, I'm not killing, I'm not stealing, I'm not cheating, I'm not lying, no, all these things like that I don't do. So nobody has to give me certificates or anything to tell that. But I do listen more, and I ask many people, what do you think about this? And then if there, I know like some people who knows a particular thing more than me, I would definitely go for them, even if it's a child, no? So, so yeah, there are like many things that happen, and meditation, I think, like really helps anybody because it's just the experience I had, I'm sharing. So it kind of like even the death experience, for example, the recollection of death. So people are really freaked out even to talk about it. In even these cultures, they say, don't talk those negative or nasty things, they say. Huh? But actually, in these practices, what we do is we uh, face those mental scenarios beforehand. Then we are ready for the real thing for ourselves as well as others, no, around that, because it's eventually it will happen, right? We cannot avoid it, but that doesn't mean we wish anybody to pass away, or we don't want to like annihilate ourselves, no, like, or like end our lives, no. So in a way, like we put ourselves there, and more deeper we go, we get a better understanding. But still there are moments like uh, it's overwhelming, or like some things come in a big way, or they just keep coming like a train, no. Sometimes there are times like it just comes like you when there's nothing, but when it all starts coming, it's like a parade. Everything comes on that day, all the bad things maybe, or difficulties, all just keep piling up on that as if they were all grouping up and waiting for you. And then there are sometimes you just have to drop it and you put all the trump cards ahead and you just wait, or sometimes you just let it go at not forever, but maybe give it a small gap and wait. And then what happens is like some things fix by themselves. So yeah, these are the things I really try, and key things like mindfulness like really helps. Uh, Not that it's always perfect, but it's way better than what it was and all that things. And we think like, and then we, like Anthea also mentioned, we reflect on what we said after this also. What did we say? Oh, like that. Not to think like, oh, I was better than the others or anything like that, right? But yeah, like, or especially what we said, no, would have added. And sometimes there is a self in our mind also. I always feel like it's like cutting a cake with a very sharp knife. And there's like some satisfaction that happens. But later, if it didn't happen properly, it's like you cut the cake with a rugged edge or a blunt knife, and all these pieces are crumbs and everything are around, and the piece is also not like a clean cut, no? And then something didn't seem right there. And later, through instinct also, when we had a conversation with somebody and all, you feel that, no, like a gut instincts, or like, oh, maybe it didn't go well, or like even if that person doesn't say anything, then you want to like reflect on it and see, did I say something wrong? Or not that you have to blame yourself or like, no, put it all on yourself. Or we can ask like, is everything all right or no? And what do you think about the conversation we had? Like that, we can go back. And it's always like good to uh, uh, like inquire. And like you all said, like maybe it's a good topic we talk about boundaries at some point. Yeah, no, maybe some other next time or some places like that, because it can be very harsh. No, it can be like, and where is this boundary? Because some boundary for one person could be way different for another, the same type of boundaries, right? And according to what they're doing, or what they want to protect themselves. So I yeah, I like you all like to have a nice group of friends, and then I spend a lot of time by myself also. So in a way, I'm okay with being alone, as well as to be, not that I want to go wild or anything like that, no. So but I'm happy to be with a group also, uh, and then not that everybody has to like uh, praise. Before there was a time, no, like when you're a teenager, you want everybody to like you and like that, no, praise you or something like that. Then as a monk also, in the stupid first parts, you like, oh, I want to see these people like really acknowledging me, like, oh, I think I'm so wise or something. But those later you understand those are parts of ego, and we are maturing also, no, and through experiences, all this, then you like, if you don't know something, you don't know, right? I'm not the whole encyclopedia or anything. No, I'm not AI or anything, right? To have all this. So we kind of like understand. And the other part I learned is sometimes everything doesn't work out. Then we can be not to do some stupid thing and say like, no, but if you really gave it your best shot and all, and we can still be like Georgie said, no, like I'm just putting all from all what you wonderfully shared, but I'm just telling is like, we can have, I did my best. uh, I at least tried, no. If somebody says like, why did you help the person, you see like it's useless, no, I actually tried, no. It's not a waste, no. So another thing over the time of this teaching and all, one good aspect, another good aspect is like the about the karma patterns, and then how the mind works. So then you see the importance. You don't say this to nobody or anything like that, but you know, like, okay, I was really happy to help this person, and I knew it will be the benefit for this person. And I know in karmic ways also, it is good, no? Good, this is good karma, or I did it with no greed intention, no anger intention, or anything, or even something to receive back or anything. And then I did it unhesitantly. I responded very quickly. But if not, still I know, no, in a way. So these things also really help the deeper realities of life, but it's still like a learning experience. As we go, like then we realize, like, oh my gosh, what did I think at that time, no? Or like how stupid I was. So I think as we evolve again and again and again, as the journey goes, like where we are here now, or I'm here, like I'll be looking back and oh my gosh, what was I thinking, no? So, but it's an evolving journey, it's a learning experience. Okay, then I'll hand it over to Anthea.
Thank you, Sanji. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions this evening. It's been a lovely, fruitful and thought-provoking discussion, and I've really enjoyed listening to what everybody has shared. So I think let's wrap it up now. So does anybody have any final thoughts or closing comments they would like to share before we finish, or are people pretty much happy to wrap it up? Speak
I've
now.
got one word to the wise, and
Okay.
that is stop trying to help people unless they ask you.
Thank you, Rae. All right. I think that's very, very sage advice. All right. So let's wrap it up for this evening. So thank you all, Georgie, Rae, Michael, Sanji, for your participation and your energy and your care and effort. And I wish you all a great evening, afternoon, and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening or a good night and a good rest. Okay.
Thank you. You all
Thanks,
have a good
Anthea. Thanks,
weekend.
everybody.